Hello students, today we'll see our another topic in soft skills, that is body language. See, body language plays a very important role in communication when you communicate with the people. Yes, reading this skill, body language is also known as a good skill. If you can read the body language of any person, you can understand what the person is thinking or what his mood is. Now we'll see few things which tells about the body language of a person and how we can identify the body language, means in what mood the person is and what he really thinks about. You might have observed in the classroom also, when the teacher is telling you some lecture or she is giving some notes, when you are not interested, you might be doing some activities like scribbling the last page of your book, or you will be playing with the pen, or you will put down your heads, or you will look after means look outside the window. This shows the sign that you're not saying anything by your mouth. It's not a verbal thing. Yes, you're just showing. By seeing the body language of a particular student, teacher comes to know that the student is not concentrating in the class, and she will just pick up that student and ask a few questions regarding the topic which she is dealing with, right? By the see, we can say that action speaks more louder than words, right? Action, the body language means all the you can, in body language you can see the facial expressions. Your tone also comes under body language. Your gestures means the movement of your limbs and the body, and your, what you can say, the eye contact. This all comes under the body language, and we'll see here in this few components also regarding the body language. From this section, for your examination point of view, you will get two questions regarding it. First, you have, under body language you have two main topics, that is kinesic and proxemics. Under kinesic you have in the form of a match the following, and the other question is directly from the proxemics. So there are two questions, internal choice questions are there. First one is a match the following from kinesic, and the other one is proxemics. We'll see all those things in detail, right? Okay, now come back. See here, talking about the body language. See, when they have given you the example here, how the mother identifies that the child is hungry. When the baby cries, when the baby cries without using language. If a month's baby cries, it means that the baby is hungry. So mother's spontaneous reaction is that she understands why the baby is crying, right? That is the body language of the baby. When your teacher has a serious expression on her or his face, you can understand that she or he means business, means they are deviating from the topic. They have to mind the business, means what, they have to concentrate on the topic which is being taught in the class. You can also communicate what is in your mind by raising your hand. Suppose you are in the class, when teacher asks that how many of you have done the assignment work, or how many of you have not done the work, simply what you'll do, or if you have any doubt regarding the topic, you will simply raise your hand. So raising your hand is also a body language. It means you have to ask something. Nodding means shaking your head like this. Coughing, making the person to stop or to give you the chance to speak, or by raising from your chair or getting up from the chair. These are the few signals what the person comes to know the what the person is feeling, right? All these are instances of non-verbal communication. See, we have two type of communication: verbal communication and non-verbal communication. Verbal communication means it is said in a spoken form, in the form of a language, right? In the form of a words, spoken form is said. And non-verbal means it comes under the body language. The body speaks everything about what you want to tell. Suppose if the teacher wants, or if anyone wants to call you, Instead of saying come here, they will just show you by this type of gesture, by the finger movement, right, like this, so that the other person comes to know that okay, she or he is calling me. If the person says like this, it means they are asking to sit down. So there is no need of words, yeah, when while talking. So you have to observe both the verbal and the non-verbal communication. Both plays important role in communication process. So here you can use your eyes, head, facial expressions and posture to enhance your communication, to give and means what you can do, you if you want to enhance, if you want to elite it, you have to use such expression, means you have to use both verbal and non-verbal language too. And here during communication one must only use, not only use, see in the communication process they have again given you here one example that when you communicate, you not only communicate with the body language, means non-verbal, both verbal and non-verbal go side by side. Suppose you went to a movie, they have given you the example that suppose you went to a movie and you're very much excited or enthralled by the hero's performance or by the dance performance, then what immediately the audience will do? They will whistle or they may clap. This is the feedback the person gets, right? Or for instance, this is another example. For instance, when people bored, when you are bored in the class or in some place, what you will do? You will simply yawn like this. You feel sleepy, right? That is another form, another body language that you are not interested in it. Yes, right. Now, you also need to be aware of the cultural differences. Cultural differences means cultural traditions varies from country to country, place to place. In India, our culture is to do put namaste by folding both the hands like this. That is our culture, right? In America or in where when you go to the foreign countries, they hug or they make kiss, right? So they you should be aware of the cultural differences when using or interpreting body language. For instance, they have given here one more example. See, in India, what's the culture, what's the tradition we have? When the teacher is telling something, the student, what they say, if the student understood the thing, they simply nod the head like this. Right? While speaking, also in a common communication, in day to day communication, also when someone speaks to you, you simply nod your head. It seems that other person can know, come to know by nodding your head that okay, he's following me what I'm telling. If you don't nod your head like this, what the other person will think that he might not be getting understood what I'm telling here. Yes, so the person may get confused why this person is not nodding his head, why not shaking, he is not shaking his head. So here the example, the cultural difference is here they tell us about our country, Indian culture and the other cultures. Right here, shaking the head while speaking or listening to someone's speech, while which is widely understood and accepted in Indian culture. When the person is listening to someone, they shake. Yes, what they will do? They will shake their head like this. Yes. It seems that the other person is active in listening too, right? So, but it is not used in other cultures, and therefore likely to cause confusion, right? What happens if the other girl miss, if you go to some other country, if you simply nod your head or shake your head like any miss while speaking or while talking listening to some person, they may get confused. So according to the culture, you have to be aware of the cultural difference, right? While eye contact, this is very important, right? Eye contact is required, means when you're talking to a person, you have to look into their eyes. It should be a solid eye contact with a smiling face, right? You should not simply stare into their eyes. So here eye contact, Facial expressions, body posture, the standing posture, how you're standing, whether the body is towards the person to whom you're speaking, or it is simply everted from from him, right? Gestures means the hand or a leg movement. And the dress, even dress also counts under under non-verbal communication, right? Under non-verbal communication or body language, dress are obvious non-verbal communication cues. Yes, they are the signals, right? Yes. Others that strongly influence interpretation of messages include the tone. Even if you give the message also, what all things are counted? Your tone, your volume, and the pitch of the speaker's voice. When you're angry, when you're annoyed, when you have a big fight with anyone, how your voice changes. Yes, your tone changes, your volume changes, and the pitch is also changed. When you're cool, relaxed, then automatically these three are changed. So these all tells about the person's mood, as I said earlier. Right? How the person is feeling at that moment is expressed by his body language. Verbal and non-verbal communication may occur. They have given another example here. See, both verbal and non-verbal goes side by side, hand by hand, right? So here they have given one more example. I said that suppose you met your friend after many years. You won't simply say hi. You won't simply say hi with your mouth. Even both verbal and non-verbal, both comes one after the other simultaneously. You will say hi with your mouth and you simply shake your hand like this. So in that way, he is saying that verbal and non-verbal communication may occur together. For instance, when you meet a friend after many years, you may shake hand warmly or ask her or him, where have you been? So what two things are going on? This is the verbal communication and this is the non-verbal thing going on here, right? Now, non-verbal communication does not use word, as I told you, right? It's a body language. It has five broad components. It has five broad components, but here in this particular topic, we are going to deal with only two topics, that is kinesic, and the other one is proxemics. Yeah, this one. Kinesic means the use of the body and gestures to communicate. And proxemics is the space between the two people. How much distance you're maintaining when you're speaking to a person. So these two topics we are going to deal with. See, proxemics, I said that from this body language you have two direct questions. The one is from kinesic, the use of body and gestures. From body language they will give you the match the following, and the other one is proxemics. Proxemics means what? The distance or the space between the two persons. So proxemics is a sure question which is going to come in your exam. So you can go with any of it. It's your choice. The other three are having to do with the time spent with a person, how much time you are spending with a single person. That is called chronemics. And appearance and use of voice, that is paralanguage. Complement and a work together with a former to form the whole of non-verbal communication. This is the fifth one, right? Now, now we'll go with a kinesic. What is kinesic means? So kinesic involves gestures. I said the posture, the movement of the hand and the limbs, right? Posture, standing posture, sitting posture. Everything speaks about our attitude or our behavior or our mood, right? Yes, at that particular time moment, what we are thinking about, our facial expression. Sometimes the facial expressions are so subtle that the person can't even guess what the person is thinking. A slight movement of your eyebrow, a slight twist in the lips. Yeah. So these are all simple, subtle fine, very delicate facial expressions are also expressed, body language, etc. There are sometimes subtle movements, subtle means very fine movements, which are not easily visible, gestures and facial expressions that indicate something about our state of mind. What does our body language tells about? It tells about, I said, the mood. It's our state of mind. It tells about our state of mind. The way we talk, walk, sit and stand all say something about us. See, everything is counted, everything is counted, like your talk, how you're talking, how you're walking, how you're sitting, how you're standing, these all things. See, when you enter for an interview, when you're going for an interview, you have to maintain the body language, they say, right? So maintaining body language means how you're walking, how you're presenting yourself, how you're sitting, how you're standing, how you're talking. So these all things are countable, right? Not only in the interview, when you are in the public, when you're talking to someone whom you don't know, or when you're in a family, everything counts. So by becoming more aware of the body language, if you're an expert in learning, means you're reading the body language of the other person and you're aware of your own body language, then definitely what happens, you can tackle the things easily. So you can learn to read people more easily. If you know the, if you can understand the body language of any person, then you can tackle the things and you can understand the people very easily. When you went for a, means after the college you went back to your home, then you are in a very good mood, but your parent or your father, mother or sister, they are not in a good mood, but you are least bothered about their body language and you simply going on sharing your things, right? So what response you are going to get from them? Definitely not good, right? So there you fail to read the body language of the family members. If you can understand the body language of their, then definitely you will just suppress your happiness and you will come to know why they are in such a mood, right? In that way you can understand the people very easily. As a result, you can communicate effectively with them. What is the result of it? You can communicate effectively, not only personal but also in professional life too. Body language counts. Body language plays a major role in reading, and be aware of your own body language too, right? Also, by increasing your understanding of others, you can also become more aware of the message that you convey to them. Next one, first impression and confidence. Whenever you met a person for the very first time, what impression you have set in your mind? Whether the person whom you met, you say find it out him as a confident person or is a less confident person, or right? So here they have given you the example that, suppose you remember a time when you met someone new at a college. Suppose you went to the college for the very first day. Miss, you are a new, you have taken new admission in the college. You have, along with you, there are so many students who joined the college. So when you went to a college, or think about the last time you watched a speaker deliver a presentation, what were your first impression? When you talk to the people around you in the classroom, what impression you got by talking to them? Whether you felt that the person is confident or he lacks confidence. By seeing, by how can you come to know that the person is confident and he is lacking confidence? By the body language, by the eye contact. If the person is talking to you and he is having a solid eye contact, then definitely you can say that his confidence level are high, right? Yes. Did you want to associate with them or not? Were you convinced by them? So what he is asking, what is telling that, whether you were convinced by their behavior, by them or not. And here, after coming to know that whether what type of person, if you are able to read the body language, then you will very for the very first time you will just judge whether you want to continue that relationship or not. Next one, did they stride? Suppose if the student or if a person is walking into the room with long steps, with long steps, or whether he engage you or maintain eye contact, or were they tentative, whether he is having a he is maintaining the eye contact, or whether it is tentative, means sometimes looking at you, sometimes looking at some other direction, right, shuffling towards you, with eyes averted, means he's not at all looking at you and he's shifting his eyes from the right to left or up to down, in that manner. Before sliding into a chair, when the person even sits in a chair also, they used to slouch, like means stretching their legs, stretching their legs and putting their hands on the back of their head. So such type of sitting posture, whether before sliding into a chair, right, those are all known as a bad body language, you can say. What about their handshake? How they are giving the handshake? Now, are they firm, are they strong, or weak or limp? Yes, it doesn't, whether it is a firm handshake is counted as the best handshake form, right? And whether it is too strong so that you can feel a pain in your palm, or it is too weak. Weak means they put, when you have given a handshake, there is no energy in it. Means they just put their hand in yours. Now, are they limp? Means it is flaccid. Now, during conversation, did they maintain solid eye contact? This is a very important part in the communication. When you're talking to someone, you should have a solid eye contact. Solid eye contact means when you're talking to the person, you have to look into their eyes instead of staring down or looking up. Did they frequently look away? Did their face appear relaxed? Are they tensed, or they are feeling relaxed, or are they sweating? Yes. What about their hand and arm movements? What about their hand means gestures? Were their gestures wide, flowing, and open, or were they tight, jerky, and closed? Right? When you're not interested to move with a person, definitely your body language will be simply like this. You will fold your hands back, and you are not, means you will turn your body like this, and you will listen to them. Means you are not showing any interest in their with them to talk, right? As you observe others, you can identify some common signs that indicate how a person is feeling. Few signs, signals, right? Common signals we are going to see. Typical things to look for in a confident people include, what is the body language of a confident people? Yes, the posture. See, once in exam they have given the just the same thing as a match the following, right? Just they have jumbled this part of the right side, and they have given you the same match the following. So what he is asking, if the person is a confident, these are the signals of a confident person. The body language, the posture, standing tall with shoulders back. See, some, you might have seen people who when they talk, or when they stand or when they walk, their shoulders are just fallen down towards the ground. It should be erect. Okay. Yeah, eye contact, it should be solid with a smiling face. You have to smile, means you should have a solid eye contact, and with a smiling face. And you have to remember that unnecessary smiling is also not counted good, right? Gestures with hands and arms, purposeful and deliberate. Unnecessarily, you should not just exaggerate the thing, or just open your hands unnecessarily. Okay, speech, it should be slow and clear so that everyone can understand. You should not rush to complete, or you just not to hurry to tell what you want to tell, so that the other person can't understand your message, what you are delivering there. The tone of the voice, it should be moderate to low. It should not be in a high pitch. If it is a high pitch, then the person may think that you might be screaming at them. Next one is another is the defensiveness. This will count under a means under body language only, but it is a not. It shows a negative body language. It doesn't have any positive. Till in the previous slide, we have seen the simple clues of a confident person. Now, defensiveness shows a negative body language. Now, see, ideally, in any exchange of communication, you should be open and receptive. Suppose you went to a teacher, you might have won some competition, and you just simply come to share your happiness with that teacher, or at home also, or with your friends. You're so excited, you want to tell everything how you got that prize. And when you went to them and their response was nil, means they have not shown any expression in their face while you're telling everything, they just turned their body towards the other direction. When the person receives anything, immediately what the reaction of other person is, they feel very excited, as if they have won the match, right? They have won the prize, so immediately they will give a shake hand, or they will give your appreciation by saying lot of things, or they will congratulate you. They have a smile, a big smile on their face. But when you went you but you find that there is no reaction from the other person, other side, then definitely the person is not interested in your achievement. He is not at all interested in your happiness. Yes, he is least bothered about you. So what happens when the next time when you the same thing happens, when you have won another prize, will you come and share with them? No, because you have already a bad experience with them, that you didn't get a positive response. So that what we are going to discuss here. You should be open and receptive to the ideas of the speaker. However, in real life and for various reasons, either you or the other person is defensive. Even you can be also be a defensive person. Defensive means we'll see in detail right now, and is not really listening to what is being said. Defensiveness, as I said earlier, it's a negative body language, means putting a deaf ear. You're not showing any interest in any of his words. If you are feeling defensive, then your body language communicates this to the other person. When you can easily understand that the person is not showing, then you can understand that okay, I have to stop now. They are not giving any importance to my words, or my any offer of my achievements of happiness. Now that is not a good position to be in, because over time your reputation of being defensiveness will spread. So you went to a teacher and you said that when I went with my prize and certificate and I have just shown to the teacher, but there was a nil response from the teacher. So what you will start spreading in the class, that I went to the particular teacher, but teacher has shown nothing. Means she has not expressed, or he has not expressed anything. Not even they congratulated me for my this grand success. So you start sharing this feeling with some other students, so simply it will go on spreading throughout the college. And at last what happens, it may come to the teachers also. So what happened, their reputation, their respect will decrease. It's a simple example I told. If you go for a miss, if you are working in an office, if the same thing happens, the reputation, if the person is of defensive nature, then what happens, definitely their reputation, their value is going to be less, and the growth is going to be limited. Because if the person is defensiveness, he will get less promotion. because he doesn't have good communication skill. Yes, will spread and will limit your growth. So how can you tell whether your message is falling on deaf ears, that the message is falling on deaf ears, or you are communicating the fact that you don't want to listen to what is being said. Now, some of the common signs that a person you are speaking with or you yourself, it may be feeling defensive include. What are the defensive? In the before slide we have seen that the some clues of a confident person, and here we are going to see the some clues of a defensive person. What is the first one? First clue: hand and arm gestures are small and close to the body. When the person come to you to show his prize or the award, immediately what happened? The person, they have to give the congratulation or they have to appreciate by patting on their back, right? But you are not doing anything, you are just standing stiff like this. It means that you are showing the defensive nature, defensive thing, right? Facial expressions are minimal, you don't have any facial expressions, right? Next one: body is physically turned away from you when the person is speaking to you and you have turned your body to the other direction, right? Next, arms are crossed in front of your body like this or like this. I maintain little contact or are downcast. Means you don't have a eye contact with the person who is sharing his feelings. You may be, it may be averted, it may be looking some other direction instead of that person, or maybe looking at the downcast or looking at the flow. Some group work, when it is done with a group. Now till now we have seen that individual, right? When you are suppose if a lecture, if the motivator speaker, if you might remember, if you remember the focus program which was conducted by the college, in that college there were so many motivational speakers who has given the motivational speeches. So what they have done, they they what they have done is they observe the students body language, according to that they change the tone, or they just understand what the students need is right now. If they find that student is getting bored, or they might be, if they are talking or they are just moving or roaming here and there in the hall, then immediately they will attract the attention of all the students by cracking some jokes or by showing some video clippings. So they reading the body language of the other person is a good skill that everyone has to develop. Now here in the group work, ideally when you stand up to deliver a presentation, when you're giving a presentation or when you're giving a seminar, definitely in the class also you might have experienced, when you're giving the seminar, the students who are sitting, they might be, they may be disturbing you by cracking some jokes or by laughing or some giggling, right? By that what happens, the person who is giving the presentation may get little disturbed by their behavior, but the person has to remember that here he has came to give the presentation, he should not be distracted by the behavior of the audience, right? So here, deliver a presentation or work with a group, you want every person in the audience to be engaged and interested in what you are saying. You can attract, actively engage the audience with when you need of it. You are alert to some of the typical signs, which includes, when you find the from the audience this type of signals, you have to become alert. Means you have to know that the audience are lacking interest in your speech or in your lecture. So what they have to, what body language of the audience may be? Heads are down, they won't be seeing at him, the heads are down. Even you may experience in the class also, when you are not interested in the teacher's lecture, your heads are down, right? Yes. Next one: eyes are glazed, means it seems that there is no life in it, or gazing at something else or looking at something else. Next one: hands may be picking at clothes, you may be picking something like this from the clothes, like bobblings, You may just pick, means you want to kill the time, you don't want to listen the lecture or the thing what is being said. Even you might have experienced at your home also, when your elders give suggestions to you, what you may be doing at that time. Just think of it. Are you seriously listening to them? Or you may be looking here and there, or you may be looking it down, or you may be picking something from your cloth, right? So, or fiddling with pens, or you may be playing with the pens. So these are the body language which tells about the person that they are not interested, they're lacking interest in the thing. People may be writing or doodling. Yes, they may be writing something. They may be sitting slumped in their chairs. When they feel bored, they may be slumped. Slumped means they may be sitting in a sliding posture. When you notice that someone appears not to be engaged in what is going on, you can do something to re engage him or her and bring their focus back to what you are saying, such as asking them a direct question. So, such type of activity is generally done in the classroom. When the teacher finds that the student is not concentrating in the lessons, what the teacher will ask? Just they will she will stop and ask you to read from where she has stopped, so that the other students becomes more attentive that we have to listen to the lesson. So at the same time, when the person is not able to read from where the teacher has stopped, then definitely is going to be punished. Or instead of that, the teacher may ask some questions regarding the lesson what I have told right now. Then where the teacher just identifies the students very quickly and easily, who is interested and who is not interested. And other thing is a cracking a joke. Suppose our speakers, I said that if they want to attract the audience towards them, they will simply crack the jokes. Yeah, that relieves that tension or change the what you are saying. Varying the pace of your delivery and the tone of your voice to help in such situation when the important thing you want to tell and the audience are not listening, simply what you the person will do, they will raise their pitch, or they will have a small change in their pitch. They may might do some mimicry type of acting too. So to just to attract the audience, means this is done for the group work. At interviews, negotiations, and answering questions. In an interview or negotiation, your body language makes all the difference to the person sitting on the other side of the table. If the person after your degree, if you go for an interview, definitely this topic, particularly the body language, is going to help you. Suppose you have went to an interview, so the person they ask you to just enter the room because they are just waiting for you and they call you. Okay, get in. Then your way of walking, how you're walking, is it too slow or is it too fast? Yes, are you walking confidently with a back, with a body erect, straight, or it is just a bending posture? These all things will count. So here, person sitting on the other side of the table, by your body language, the way of talking, a way of walking itself, the person comes to know half about you, that the person is confident or he is nervous or he doesn't have any knowledge about the interview. They could just they are experts in reading the body language, right? The person who is taking an interviewers look at your body language to determine how you are feeling about the situation, right? Yes, it is important to project an air of confidence, though you are nervous from inside, but it should not be projected or showed, expressed outside, right? And being comfortable with who you are, show interest in the entire process, but don't be too eager to ask some questions. Some ways of showing this are: Always make an eye contact with the person who is speaking to you. As I told earlier, sit up straight in the chair with your feet together and your hands on the arms of the chair or in your lap. When you went to an interview, what body language a person should hold? He should sit on a chair. He should, if the chairs have two arms, then you can comfortably put your arms on the chair, or you can sit straight. Yeah, crossing your hands, as discussed earlier, is a sign of defensiveness. Crossing your hands, right, and being closed, it is counted as closed. Closed means you are not open to them, means you are not feeling so comfortable with them. It shows. Have a pleasant open expression on your face. Don't smile too much either, or you might not be taken very seriously. Unnecessarily, you should not show your teeth, right? Try not to grimace or wince when you say something wrong. Okay, when you have said something wrong, okay, it happens when you're tensed. So at that time, don't just give silly facial expression just by biting your tongue, as we do, or we say something like which feel when the person hears, it looks odd to listen, right? Such type of things you have to avoid. Rather pause. Instead of that, doing such type of grimace or wince, instead of that, you have to stop and you have to say that sorry or excuse me, I meant to say this, but I have said something else. Then you can continue with your topic. Though this is not a part of a body language, yes, the dress, though this is not a part of our body language, then also we have to maintain where and when and where you're going, means you're but wearing appropriate clothing. Suppose you went for an interview, you have to wear formal dress instead of informal, right? That is the body language, that is the dress code or dress sense we say, right? If you went for a marriage function but you are wearing a simple cotton dress, it will seems odd. See, according to the occasion, you have to select the dress, okay, and being neat in your appearance. See, appearance is also countable. You have to present yourself very neatly. Not only makes a good impression but also gives you confidence in yourself. This translates into confident body language. If you are dressed well, then definitely your confidence levels are also increased. So now when you are asked a question, see, this is the thing what is said, that in an interview, if the question is asked to you, if you know the answer, say it very confidently, but you are not so sure and not so confident whether the answer you're telling is correct, then you have to say simply sorry, instead of what you can say, instead of uh, I am not getting that word. Instead of the just fooling them by saying some or other the thing, or just covering the matter, is not required. Okay, so you when you are asked a question that requires you to think, take a moment to reflect before answering. By taking some time to reflect on your response when the question is asked and you are not able to answer it immediately, take your time and then give a response. You are indicating to the questioner that they have asked you a good question and it is important enough for you to take some time to consider your answer, right? Yes. While the broad rule of body language can be used to interpret signs, interpret means what? Interpretation, understanding the signals. Each person is unique. Every person is unique, different, and may show individual response to a situation. Everyone has a different body language according to the situation, right? This is often the case when people have different past experience. The past experience also counts for the response of the individual for any situation, and particularly where cultural differences are large. Where the cultural differences are large, you can see such type of response in an individual. Now, coming to the proxemics, another part of a body language. Till now, we have seen the kinesic. Now, proxemics. Proxemics, as I told you, is the distance what we maintain while talking to the person, right? This refers to the distance that we keep from others during the communication process and shows the relationship we share with the receiver of the message or the subject we are discussing, right? Anthropologist Edward T. Hall has categorized four zones. How many zones they have categorized it? With four zones. First one is which social interaction takes place. First one is intimate. Intimate means the members of the family and the other loved ones. Next one is the personal. Personal means what? Talking with friends privately. Next one is social. From for acquaintance means from with whom we have some what you can say uh, the person whom we know not very closely, but you talk to them, right? Of fellow workers and strangers and public. So these are the four what you can say that zones, four zones. First one is the intimate, second one is the personal, third one is the social, and the fourth one is the public. Public means for use in the classroom or for speeches before the groups. If the speaker, if a minister is giving a speech in the ground, it is a public, right? Now we'll see the every zone. Remember that these zones also differ culturally. According to the culture, according to the country, it also changes. For instance, an American or British person may not stand as close to each other while speaking as they do in India. So, according to the cultural difference, also there is a lot of change in the space or the standing place. The space created for communication is also important. For instance, a manager creating, here they have given you the example. If a manager is creating an open office space, suppose if there is a partition in a office, lot of partition for a boss, for the man, for the what you can say, the other employees, for the accountant, if there is a lot of partition, the person who are the other employees who are working under him, they may feel little what you can say difficult to communicate. But if it is an open office without any chambers, then the person can, there will be a free communication process. So open office space without any partition seeks to encourage an unrestricted flow of communication and work among different areas. Then the work process will be easy and they can communicate easily. So thank you for today's class, and we'll continue in our next class.